We're gonna UVTV, motherfucker. I'm in a kid spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Nia nigga feather me. Yeah, and today I'm gonna be talking about you are a person. You are a person showing your personality through emanating and shining your piece of the sun. So your piece, your portion. So it's like an animism. I've been saying that a lot lately, but it's like an animism to where even if it's immaterialized, even if it's incorporeal, even if it looked like something of the imagination, we're taking things that are make believe and making people believe in it, which leads to things like faith or living in your truth or trusting somebody or feeling like someone has the better ability to do something compared to you. So you rather them do it than you do it. So it's like you giving them that ability to shine. And for you giving your ability to shine, that's like what you did on a micro scale based upon what's happening on a macro scale when it comes to the seasonal transitions in the sun and the moon pockets for the most part. And from it being an animism, regardless if it's materialized or immaterialized, it's a state of being. So the same way how you have this table or you have a chair or you have a rock, your spirit or your space, your state of being could be like a rock. So from you being a rock, you're something that's dependable or you're something that's securable or stable to where you can always depend on it, but at the same time it can lead to energies of stubbornness and not willing to move. So from you not being able to move and stuff like that, you're gonna stay situated in that one place, even if it means not going to yeah, like even if it means going against being sentient or being changeable, adaptable and movable and stuff like that. And your spirit is incorporeal, so it's no shape and form, so it's always going to try to change up or switch up or go into a different mood or go into a different way of thinking or go into the, not to say like the spirit is thinking, it's just the state of being and the state of awareness of what you're observing. So it's not in a particular shape and form, thought form, emotion, feeling. It's just, you know what I'm saying, it's just loose. It just is what it is. So from it being free flowing and based upon you having that carefree energy and having that free spirited energy, so to speak, right? It's not having a care in the world. It's just you being your natural state of being for what it is, as is, without no bias attached to it. It's just you being yourself, so to speak. Now, from you being yourself, that's like you understanding your own atmosphere, your own world, your own point of view, your own worldview. So you're able to share that space and not really give a fuck about anybody else outlook on your personal circumference and parameter of how you like to run things in your world, aka your atmosphere, and how you like to express yourself, so to speak. Now, your spirit will be like your personality and your personal outlooks. Your mind will be the personification of that, and your body is just the embodiment of the person. You know what I'm saying? So from you being in a physical shape and form, the body right now being in the flesh, you have your own organs, your organism trying to organize your organs so you can be a running functioning machine based upon different blood vessels and muscles, so things get flexed, things get engineered, things are running smoothly. So it's a spirit, mind, body, external world concept. Your spirit is your personality and your personal outlooks. Look at your individual outlooks like your soul, so to speak, because that's your individual space, your individual spirit, your individual parameter. So it's like your personal observations and experiences. So your spirit will be like your personality, your specific state of being. And when you try to run a city or a state, is going to have a nation, right? So from you having a nation, that nation is going to be filled with men and women, and that's going to help build the civilization. Look at the men like thoughts, and look at the women like emotions and feelings, and it's going to emanate into those shapes and forms, so you can call what your spirit is doing something. Not the spirit is the mind, it's the spirit creating the mind, and then the mind creating the body and the flesh, and then the body and the flesh is creating what we make as examples in the external world based upon different tools, devices, and technology and things of that nature. So yeah, the spirit is your personality. It's just your piece of the sun when it goes through different transitions, right? The same way how the sun go through different transitions, that is always eternal and everlasting. It don't stop, and it's not no thing you turn the sky red or you trying to block out the sun. It just is what it is. It's just a process and a mechanism, and that's how we're gonna go through that spring, summer, fall, winter. And it's not no thing to where um different geographical locations don't go through that process at some point. They probably gonna have it more intensely or not as intensely compared to other areas, but it's always going to be that natural mechanism. And the reaction of response probably not going to be the same, but you know, oh yeah, spring is coming. We know when summer is coming, we know when fall is coming, and we know when winter is coming. So based upon that ecosystem and the geographical location, the way how it's gonna happen, like that's like it happened in Alaska, and they be having daytime for a long period of time and things of that nature, or like something like that. So they still gonna go through the same thing. They probably ain't gonna go through it the same way how it happens in America, the same way how it happens in Europe, the same way how it happens in China, but they're gonna go through the same mechanism and process. It's just a different geographical location. So we see that on an overall scale, but you're doing that as like an animism on a little bitty scale, because you wouldn't have your own mind and you wouldn't be sentient if you didn't have a natural nature, if you didn't have your pure state of being, right? Or you acting in genuality and sincerity. You wouldn't even be aware or be sentient based upon human intelligence and the human mind and stuff like that if you wasn't doing this on a miniature scale, like how you see in nature, like actual nature, like when you go outside and things of that nature. So your spirit is your personality and your personal outlooks. Your mind is just the personification of your personality and your personal outlooks. Your body is just the embodiment of what that is. So it's going to create the flesh, the shape and form of what that is. And then the external world is just how you're perceived as an individual beyond just your personal outlook. So it's how other people look at your personal way of how you go about things. So I have my own mind and you have your own mind. So you're going to have your own personal outlook of how I like to express myself based upon my individuality and me as a person. You get it? Like, so it's basically just different charismas, characteristics, behaviors, traits, attributes that are going to distinguish you as an individual compared to somebody else. You get what I'm saying? So based upon everyone's personalities, all the way down to if you have a civilization or like a nation and stuff like that, right? Like that is gonna have a distinct culture behind it. It's gonna have a distinct character behind it. It's gonna have a distinct, oh, these people act in this manner compared to these group of people. You get what I'm saying? This sorority compared to this sorority, they like to go about things differently based upon their initiations and their brotherhood and fraternity and stuff like that. If you want to make that like really simple, or this classroom with this teacher, their personality is different from this classroom and this teacher, even though they both in the same hallway. So it's something that you're making up. So if you're making it up, it's something that you're trying to create. So that's how you end up making different cloths that your spirit can wear. Look at the cloths like thoughts and feelings. So thought forms and feelings and emotions, and based upon your mood that day, that's the thing you're going to put on, all the way down to how you wake up a lot of time. And if you're a real fashionable type of person, if you like to get fly, you like to get fresh and stuff like that, it's going to be based upon the comfort zone and the mood of what you feel like you could pull off and what you could wear based upon your taste. And based upon your taste, that's like your mannerisms, right? That's like your behaviors, or that's just going to show your likeliness. It's going to show what you like. So it's you showing your pure state of being of how you like to express yourself and you making it up. So from you making it up, that's the thing that people get attracted towards based upon what you're paying attention to. Attention span, awareness, focusing, concentration, making something concrete based upon the first intention, and then that first intention is going to turn into that feeling and emotion comfort zone, into a womb container that people can be condensed into and pay attention, or they can be inspired, or is you drawing attention, or people being attracted towards your way of how you get attention. So it's attention span first, the men, the thought and idea, then the attraction, the woman, the womb, the feeling and emotion, and it being contained. So people taking what you're trying to create, people buying into what you're selling, so to speak. So that's why it's important to have some high importance about yourself, because having importance is gonna make you be attractive. Look at that as import. So if you're getting a lot of imports, kind of like foreign exchange and stuff like that, right? They get imports from a whole bunch of different countries. Look at that as you're bringing a lot of energies in, thoughts and feelings. You're bringing in a lot of different states of beings. You know what I'm saying? You bringing in a lot of different perspectives, right? So if you're feeling you're important, it's gonna make other people buy into what you actually find as an importance overall based upon what you want to stand on. So if you have a lot of importance when it comes to yourself, it's gonna make people buy into what you're selling. if I want to make that mad simple. So from you being yourself and you believing in yourself is gonna make other people want to be believing in themselves because they want to understand what belief system or what spiritual practice or what state of being, what condition are you in to make you be that expressive, to make you be that happy, to make you not care. That's the thing that people are enticed by. And if you have a lot of importance when it comes to yourself, it means you're really attractive. So you're able to take in a lot of different information and receive a lot. And it's gonna make people, and based upon you having a lot of attention span and you knowing how to utilize it, it's gonna make people wanna bring everything in. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know how to make something up. You know how to bring it all together to make it look substantiated, to make it make sense. And that's like common sense. That's you basically making your esoteric building and you being in like an esoteric mansion, so to speak. Okay, what that mean? That's like you being rich in spirit and you was able to take something that was abundant, or it takes a lot of intelligence, or it takes a lot of awareness, or it takes a lot of concentration. It's going to take a lot of attention span. It's going to take a lot of you putting in a lot of work for you to accomplish that thing, but people can see that spiritually speaking. And from you being so creative of being able to keep on constructing it and keep on building it, it's going to make other people want to do the same thing that you're doing based upon you knowing how to utilize your imagination, aka it's just you being yourself. So just in general, right, that's what it means to hold yourself to utmost importance. You know how to bring things in. You know how to be attractive to make people pay attention to your attention span, so to speak, your awareness, your personal outlook, your personality, your characteristics, your charisma. You know what I'm saying? You was able to enchant or charm people because of your mannerisms, and they rather get that from you compared to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You got the star power. You got the star quality. You got the, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got the X factor. You got things to pull people in for the most part to make them pay attention to what you're paying attention to. So from you being a wandering star, which is just a planet, it's just you being a celestial body, because that's the sun, right? It's a celestial body. So it's a heavenly body. What's heaven? Heaven is just the abode of God. Look at the abode of God as all possibilities. So you was able to create a circumstance to where people can idealize your specific way of how to go about something, and they give that praise and they get inspired by that. But you have to do that, make that up. You know what I'm saying? You have to make that up by just being yourself. If I want to make that mad simple. So from you being a walking wandering star, aka a planet, is just a luminous celestial body. So it's you shining your light. Now that's light as in weight. So if you get held down by gravity, not like physical gravity, I'm just trying to make an allegory, right? If you get held down by gravity, look at that as emotional baggage. Look at that as holding yourself back. Look at that as you trying to take responsibility for certain things that you probably don't even give a fuck about. So look at that as like fear mongering energy. Look at that as emotional weight. So from you holding all that weight, it's gonna weigh down on your spirit, which leads to energies of depression, what leads to energies of compression, what leads to energies of being unpurposeful, being I can't even say the word. I don't even think that's a word either, but unprosperous. I don't even think that's a word, but y'all get what the fuck I'm trying to say, right? Because you're holding too much emotional baggage and you're trying to bear one's cross. So in general, you have to be willing to take spiritual responsibility for what you do. If you have a certain desire, a certain goal, a certain dream, and we all got those, but in general, you have to take responsibility and accountability for what you're indulged into based upon your desires. So if you end up bear one's cross for something and make those sacrifices, that's fine. But if you end up making a sacrifice for something and then later down the line you end up finding out that's not the real you, or that's not a representation of what you are, it's going to end up weighing you down from trying to hold that up because you want to keep on striving for that desire because you feel like the destination or the end goal is going to be worth it, so to speak. But that's when it starts to turn into you having blood in your hands, and then you have to make your wash that blood clean. Look at that as take off the road colored glasses. Stop having clouded judgment. Stop being a narc. Stop looking at things in one way, because when you shine your light, too much light can blind you. So you can be blind in certain areas that you're trying to be in that ignorance is bliss type of mentality, but you know it's not helpful. You know it's harmful. You know you did something that harmed you and others. You end up taking a poison berry, a poison fruit. You end up trying to uphold a degenerate thought and feeling. So that's like a bitch ass child. So you didn't raise it up the right way. You didn't take care of it the right way. You didn't teach it the right directions and how to take care of itself anyway. So it's like some degenerate ass thought and feeling that you trying to treat like a bastard child. AKA you're not trying to deal with those flaws. You're not trying to deal with that darkness. You ain't trying to deal with your demon child, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You're not trying to deal with your demon seed, so to speak. Because that's your offspring. So at the end of the day, it end up being, you know what I'm saying, becoming an adult and probably became some demonic ass adult offspring and stuff like that. But that was still your son or your daughter. So you still got to do the best you can. But by the time they get to adult, it's going to be real hard. By the time you get 18, you start not giving a fuck. You start being on something like, I don't go fuck with what my parents think. I'm trying to be outside. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. You're going to have your own mind. You're going to have your own desires. And then you got to be grown now. So it's either they end up learning and realizing what their parents were trying to teach them all along, or just turn into they rejecting their parents, rejecting their ancestors, rejecting the OGs and stuff like that. And then you can't go too far with that type shit. You know what I'm saying? Because eventually it's gonna lead to some energies of you need to come back to something. It's gonna lead to some energies of, well, somebody gotta give a fuck about you. You know what I'm saying? Because if man, that's why your dumb ass would even be existent in the first place. You can make that mad simple. Your mama had a horny thought and your daddy had a horny thought, and then they collaborated together long enough to bring your bitch ass into existence. So that's your son, that's your daughter. Now look at that as like thought forms and stuff like that. Okay, you still brought that into existence, so yeah, you have to be responsible for your bitch ass child, even if they act like a degenerate and they act like a demon and they act like King Von or some shit like that. Shout out King Von. But and then look, that's not even me hating, but like y'all get what the fuck I'm trying to say. It's kind of like, that's still your kid though, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's still your kid, so you still gotta take care of it. And until it get to the point to where they just beyond saving at that point. You know what I'm saying? Unless it get to a point, man, if they just beyond saving, yeah. That's a whole different topic. But y'all get what the fuck I'm trying to say. So the same way how the sun be in specific positions during seasonal transitions, right? And it's gonna go through its dawn till dusk. And it going through its daybreak to the twilight zone, daytime, nighttime, Adams and Eve's, evening time, and stuff like that, right? And it goes through its different transitions. The sun will be like the male offspring, and then the moon will be like the daughter, the female offspring. So the sun is going to be based upon their perception and how it's going to be seen, and then the moon is just going to be based upon the world that it's in and how it wants to be received, not how it's seen in the outlook. Is going to be something that's internal and how they take care of it based upon the different moods or the moon phases, so to speak. So from it waxing and waning, that's why during a new moon, that's when you start new things, and it's going to reach this fullest maximum magnitude of that heightened emotion and feeling of what you was building up to and trying to fulfill. And then when it starts to wax, it's going to end up waning. So from it waning, it going through that crescent moon, rockabye baby energies and stuff like that, right? It's going to end up getting basked. Well, it's basically going to be you basking in what you just did during the full moon at its maximum, and it's going to start to drain away. The same way when it comes to actual sex, right? Like sexual intercourse, when a penis goes inside a vagina and then you come inside the womb, and it's gonna make the sperm cell germinate the seed, the egg cell, right? And then it's gonna absorb it, take all of it in. And it's gonna end up draining it and retaining it. Or like when a bad bitch ends up sucking your dick or some shit like that. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get fulfilled, so you put the dick in the bitch mouth, and then the bitch gonna end up sucking your dick and draining all the cum out the shit, and then you're gonna be acting like, oh my god, she sucked my shit, oh my god. Yeah. Like to make it like mad simple, bro. Cause motherfuckers be pseudo and stuff like that. But we see that shit in reality. It's just y'all don't look at it like that. But it is that though. On a whole bunch of different scales. On a lot of different scales. You have sex within the mind first, and then it has the energies of what we call sexual intercourse in reality and stuff like that. So if you have a lot of sexual energy, okay, you have sex within the mind first. So it's like something between the men and women, the thoughts and feelings. If you have a lot of sexual type of thoughts, or like you're like a really sexual type of person, it just means you have a lot of lively energy. You have a lot of sentient type of energy. You have a lot of knowledge. Like it's kind of like when rappers sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, the bitch giving me brains, she giving me knowledge and stuff like that." Yeah, you have a lot of lively energy. You have a lot of thoughts. You have a lot of feelings, and you always feel the need to get that off. That's why you always in that sexual type of energy because you feel passionate. You feel that warmth. You feel that liveliness. So it's kind of like you going through the natural mechanism. You have an idea, it becoming a thought after thinking about it, and then that thought form is gonna become a way of feeling, and then that feeling is gonna turn to a specific feeling, which is just a whole bunch of different emotions. And then based upon that emotion, you're gonna get moved, and then you're gonna end up coming up with another idea. So it's logical intelligence turned into emotional intelligence, and then you end up coming up with another logic or another meaning and reason and purpose, thought and idea to make it so it's gonna keep on getting bigger. So it's expansion, contraction. So expansion would be trying to push the parameter of how far you're trying to make a attention span or a thought form go, and then the condensing or contracting and holding on and trying to retain it is the emotion and feeling. So you're trying to crush into it. So it's like a container. So you're trying to hold on to it to make it go through its fullest maturity of what emotion are you gonna get out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's taking two or more energies to create another energy. And that's all sex is, based upon the atoms and the eves, the thoughts and the feelings. And we do that on a mass scale to make it so the type of sex genders that we have right now. So me being a man and then women having big titties and ass and stuff like that and having a pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really that simple though. So niggas like to direct and women like to receive and things of that nature. So like it's like how men like to ejaculate and then women they end up getting wet or something like that. And you can say that's ejaculation, but at the same time they have that womb, that pussy, that coochie to receive based upon the ejaculation of what the man is doing. So it's based upon the first intent and then how far can that first intent go until it ends up becoming something you can hold on to, aka a container, a womb. So as we see when it comes to the sky and the sun has the visibility and it has different sun pockets based upon the season of the year that I basically already explained: spring, summer, fall, winter, birth, life, death, evaporation. So it's based upon the time and the place of where it's seen, and you're gonna feel that heat, you're gonna feel that warmth. So it's something that's more high temperament. And even when the sun is going through its fall and winter time, or when things get cold outside, the sun is still gonna shine. You're still gonna see what it is on a lighter percentage scale, right? It's just cold during that time. So it's being able to maintain that warmth or that heat or that light or that praise or that gold or that brightness. You know what I'm saying? Even if we're going through even if we're going through hell. Hell as in, oh, we're going through the fall and winter time when things are a bit more cold, dead, and distant. You know what I'm saying? It's not as everyone trying to be outside. It's not as warming. It's not as relatable. It's not as you know what I'm saying? Compassionate. And from yeah, like it's not as compassionate, it's not as passionate, it's not as interactive, it's not as sentient, it's not as lively how it is when people try to go outside when it comes to spring and summertime, when things start to warm up during the spring. So from you germinated a seed, and then summertime is just an accumulation of springtime to where we're going through hot weather like right now, and it being the fixated portion of that, Leo. And then fall time is just an accumulation of spring and summer to make it so it's going to go through its fullest maturity. But then that's when the leaves start to fall, die, and deteriorate. And then the accumulation of that is wintertime. And the wintertime is the accumulation of spring, summer, fall, and winter to where things become cold, dead, distant, frozen. And then everything is going to start being snowy. Everything is going to start dying out. And everything when it comes to the leaves and in nature and stuff like that is starting to die and deteriorate, and then it's inactive. It's not growing no more. It's not, you know what I'm saying? And then during that time, during the fall time, well, summer transitioning into the fall time, right? That's harvest season. So you're supposed to get all the good fruits and the good knowledge and the gold and the minerals and stuff like that, the gems and stuff like that, the knowledge, the wisdom that you learn throughout the spring and the summer of what you just did, because that's the time when you're supposed to do it. That's the time when you're supposed to pop out. That's the time when you're supposed to make things warmed up and be seen. We're supposed to spring off certain seeds, germinate them to make them actually grow and sprout into saplings, to make them actually grow into full-blown trees and things of that nature. And then the leaves start to deteriorate during the fall and winter time, and then during that time, that's when things become more inactive. But to stay active, even though that's the time period when things are inactive, is having some type of circumstance, sustainability, stability, and try to recreate that even if you're going through the wintertime. So it's like a internal type of energy, right? Because you can meet people who at real detached, cold, dead, distant. That's the wintertime. Or they like stuck in like they're like a rock stuck in a hard place, so to speak. So during the wintertime, that's when everything get frozen and everything feels stuck. Everything feels contained. Everything feel like it just stopped. Oh, okay, it's not as active no more, so it's not as lively no more. It's not as active no more at the function and things of that nature because it's cold as fuck and everyone want to be inside and stuff. But the way how you try to recreate it and make it so it's sustainable is to go more based upon you wearing that bubble coat or you wearing that fur coat. So you still able to stay warm and heated and still able to be active and moving around and stuff like that, even though it's cold as fuck. So you having on them gloves, you having on them big ass fur boots and things of that nature, so you can still be outside, even if you know what I'm saying. So we do this internally, like I just said, spring, summer, fall, winter. When it comes to springtime, that's when you're supposed to spring and create and produce and germinate a seed and spring off new ideas. And then from you bringing it to life and being lively, like right now during the summertime. So it's gonna be seen and represented. And then it going through that harvest season. So fall time is gonna reach its fullest maturity, and that's when things start to die and deteriorate. So it's not going to be seen the same way as it was during the spring and summertime because that's not the time to start something new. So that's when things start to run its course and then it served its purpose. And then once it's completely went through the mechanism of the wintertime and it's done stopped up and it got blocked and it's cold, dead, distant, it's inactive, it's not as lively no more. That's when you just retain that energy and you try to condense what you just already created so you can prep for when the springtime happen again. So when things start to warm up again, that's when you start to thrive again. And then that's why Aries act like that. If you wanted to bring astrology into it, that's why Aries come in like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then it's based upon their personality because they like to put things first. So from them putting things first, they like being the face. They like putting things in the forefront. So they like to do things that are refreshing. Them doing things that are new. Them doing things in a whole new pocket, in a whole new lane. And from them being independent and free flowing, they like to do things on their own instead of trying to add on relationships of others because they want to figure out how to do it. And it's based upon their passions, their motivations, and their desires, and them learning how to separate themselves in general. And they're going to go through situations like that to be a higher act of Aries to understand that. But that's what they're doing. So Aries is just the start. It's the beginning. It's the morning. It's the dawn. It's 4 a.m. to fucking not 4 a.m. It's 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I mean, it's 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. So that's when the sunrise happened. The same time that Aries time happened, and that's how you get your rising sign and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the ascension. That's the beginning. That's the start. That's the genesis. That's the spark. That's the birth. That's the rise. That's when everything begun and things of that nature. But I'm trying to use that as an allegory as when the sun rises and then when the sun sets. So it's based upon that full actual mechanism of how you see it on a micro scale, but we're doing that on a micro scale. So that's how you see the astrology, astronomy, and the anatomy. The astrology be the meaning and reasoning, the astronomy being the mentality behind it of why it's like that, and then I mean it's the mentality behind the meaning and reasoning, aka the astrology, and then the anatomy, us physically acting out what that is, and then it becomes a part of the external world of the different civilizations and representation tools, devices of how we was able to maintain it, and then that's it. Spring, summer, fall, winter, birth, life, death, evaporation. And then after you evaporate is you just preparing to be reborn or reawaken again. And that's similar to the springtime. So it's the same thing. Like you are a person showing your personality through emanating and shining your piece of the sun. So once you understand that on a broader scale, you see what the sun is doing, but you also see how you can shine your own light in the same mechanism. And then at the same time, it make it so you don't get lost into an ego or a dichotomy because it's not like a even though we think dualistically, it's not based upon a dichotomy or like an ultimatum. It's not like a this or that. No, it's this becoming that, and it's that becoming this. So it's like a process. So it's the accumulation of something, and then they end up getting drained, dying, and you know what I'm saying, go through its course. It's gonna go through hell, and it's gonna rise back up from the ashes like the phoenix and become graceful again, become glory again, become like the holy, holy, holy or whatever, become divine. So it has to go through that mechanism though. You can't get that strength without going through the faults or the weaknesses, and then you end up finding something to regain your strengths again and stuff like that. Regain new tricks, new charismas, new abilities, new talents, new gifts, new skills and stuff like that. And widening your spirit. You widen the space or the parameter that you in, or what you're trying to create for yourself, is gonna widen your horizon, your horizons or whatever, right? And then it's gonna end up expanding your spirit, which expands your mind, which ends up expanding it into a new organ and vessel, and that's the mechanism. It's really that simple. So, is you understanding your own role and your own position. Sometimes you can be the leader and you can be the shepherd of you leading the followers based upon your fans or your associates. But sometimes you can be the associate. You can be the person in the background that's cheerleading and trying to show somebody behind closed doors how to do something. But you're like in the OG type position, type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you let someone else get that shine, and it's not just about you all the time. So you know how to be self-serving while also learning how to be of service. So it's not about the universe working for you or against you. And when you think the universe is always supposed to work for you, that's God putting you through different situations to show you just a narcissist and you in an exaggerated ego, when that's not what life is about, just in general. So sometimes you're going to be in that position of you leading the charge. And then sometimes you're going to be in the position of, oh, you're going to listen to other perspectives, other people's opinion, and it's going to help you have a better way of how to go about something. You know what I'm saying? And that's what family be for. And familiarity and friends and relationships and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So it can be shared. It's not just all about you and all for yourself. Because if you just wanted to be in the world all by yourself because you want to act like you God and stuff like that, oh yeah, God gonna make you do that. God gonna show you, all right, you try to do the big bang, you try to create the war, and you do everything on your own and stuff like that. God gonna show you like, nah, sometimes you need people. And then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need others, and then sometimes it's good to have some type of communion to where it can be shared, because you would even give a fuck about it like that without people paying attention to it. But you gotta pay attention to what you're doing for your goddamn self when it comes to your own relationship with your own energies and stuff like that. So you can make something that's relatable and something that's new on earth, and that's us bringing God on earth, so to speak. That's us bringing all possibilities in heaven on earth to make it so people can keep on making it keep that going for the most part. Keep on acting like the spirit, eternal, immortal, and everlasting. They're gonna keep that going. It's gonna make it so you're gonna have some high hanging fruit that people want to pluck and find that new mineral, that new gem, that new gold, to be inspired to make other people want to keep that going in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like the walking star, walking cross, walking representation, emanation of what that is based upon the alignments, and you holding up that position. So it's going to make other people down the line, like an ancestry or a kinship or like a bloodline, to want to keep that going, so you can have a good representation when it comes to your family and your spiritual family. You know what I'm saying? Like your spiritual family, and like you have some type of backbone. So you understand you can be your own backbone, but then sometimes other people can help support you and they can be your backbone because they're dependable and they're your people. And then that's it. So the same things that we're looking at when it comes to the external world, we're also living out those same characteristics. You know what I'm saying? Like that overall mechanism, we're doing the same thing on a micro scale, right? So when it comes to nature and you know what I'm saying, like Mother Nature and stuff like that, we're doing that just on a micro scale because it's still part of existence, and it's also pure, it's also natural, it's also genuine, it's also something that we see happening that you can't stop type shit. The same way how we part of existence and then we end up living and dying, going through a spring, summer, fall, winter. So just in general, that's how it leads to us taking higher states of beings and higher shapes and forms based upon that creativity, imagination. We're bringing heaven on earth. So from us bringing heaven on earth and we making the world, we're also a part of the world. So from us having our own piece of what that is, that is also part of the world on our broad percentage scale. It's just y'all get lost into the humanistic mind state of y'all ego, of y'all trying to exaggerate what that is. And unless it's made through technology or some type of tool or device or some AI, y'all just think that shit is non-existent. Even though we see every day, based upon culture, based upon belief systems, based upon customs and stuff like that, we take things that are make-believe and we make motherfuckers believe in it. Even if it's some mythology, even if it sounds like some fantasy, imagination, extraterrestrial world that look like it's out of this world or whatever and stuff like that. We're taking something that's supernatural and we try to take things that are supernatural and paranormal and we try to make it a part of the natural world, like the physical world for the most part. So when a motherfuckers do some supernatural shit that we ain't never seen before, motherfuckers gonna try to study that and try to figure out how the fuck that he do that shit. How the fuck he manifests that shit. But we see that shit every day though. So just in general, right? Like I'm highly sure from like the 1800s and the 1900s all the way down to what we invented today, motherfuckers didn't see civilization living up to we can talk on smartphones and we can all communicate with the world and all that type stuff. Like back in the day, they was like, nigga, what the fuck? That sound like some pseudo shit. Until it became unpseudo because you took something that was make believe and you made a motherfucker believe in it, and then we end up concentrating and focusing on it long enough to actually make it part of the physical existence that we in. So if we're thinking about the universe and things that are universal that can appeal to everybody, even animals and trees and all that type stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that's all I'm saying. Y'all be exaggerating shit based upon the humanistic way of thinking and mankind and God ego when it comes to that, based upon y'all trying to play out God. And then animals don't even think like that. Keep in mind, they don't even have the intelligence to think like that. But that lets you know how much humans like to exaggerate shit based upon our awarenesses and our brain and stuff like that. Don't try to make it more than what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just animals looking at us like we're their God, and we can show them a better way how to get out of their undomesticated, wild, barbaric natures. And that's what we're doing when it comes to the atmosphere and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we end up soul saving each other. We end up picking each other up. We end up showing them a better way how to go about something instead of acting like a degenerate. And that's the same thing on a broad percentage scale.